Okay, welcome everyone. What do you call a salamander that lies? Gail, tell us.
Well, I think before I tell them, we want to see if there's somebody
Oh.
who might know and put it in the chat. I want to welcome everyone to this wonderful opportunity for the Empowerment Factory to share our nature drawing program that we developed 4.5 years ago and have expanded on. And I think it's a lovely blend of creativity, environmental education, and also empathy, because the more that people understand nature and how we're all connected, the more they will be respectful of it. And, you can't care about what you don't know about. And so nature drawing is a wonderful self-expression of drawing, but also a wonderful way to learn about nature in a creative way. And so
Thank you.
thank you so much, Janine, for having us.
Oh, we're
Um,
we're thrilled. Thank you for being here. Just a quick minute, and then I'll let you have the floor. Gail, I'm Janine Silversmith. I'm the executive director of RIA, the Rhode Island Environmental Education Association. We're so happy you're here with us because there's so many of us, and we have such a rich program. We don't want to take too much time, so if you could in the chat put your name, your pronouns if they don't show up on your rectangle, and the organization or group that you're with, if that's appropriate. I want to thank also NEC Solar for sponsoring our 2024 virtual Lunch and Learn series. For those of you who don't know, RIA is a support network for anyone and any organization that's doing environmental education in Rhode Island. And I'm very happy to introduce you to Gail Allers, the amazing, wonderful, tireless, I don't think she sleeps, director of the Empowerment Factory, the Empowerment Factory was our organization of the year back in
19.
2019,
Hmm. Yeah.
and very well deserved. Gail, take it away.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so pleased to be sharing our program, Nature Drawing, which is an online program that we offer to elementary youth, usually grades between second and fifth grade. It started out of COVID when we never had an online program before, and we started just doing nature drawing and then developed two beautiful books this is the book that we are learning from today, um, The Vernal Pool. But the first two books were Endangered Animals, and then we went into communicating with the Department of Environmental Management, Wildlife, and Fisheries for what are the animals of the highest conservation need in Rhode Island. And we developed vernal pool, ponds and rivers, salt marsh, and then open ocean. And with that, I'd like to introduce our co-hosts, Wendy Fashon, who has been a wonderful team member of the Empowerment Factory, and Joanne Chen, who is a RISD student, super talented, and is one of the artists who worked on developing the books. And Joanne will be our artist. When we run this program, we generally have three teachers in the room. There's the artist, there is the educator, and then there's a bilingual room monitor. Because when you're offering programs to elementary youth, it's really important that you engage the families. And we send them an email a day before, we send them a text a half an hour before. And then if they are still not in the room, we have that bilingual room monitor call each family to say, hey, the class is starting because, they might be changing another child's diapers, or they might be cooking dinner, or, shoveling the driveway. There's lots of things. But with that, I see that someone has already answered our joke that I put in the chat. What do you call a salamander that lies? And you are correct. You call it an amphibian. So, this is run more like a club, and we like to have fun. And I'll hand it over to Wendy Fashon to say a few words before the class starts.
Oh, okay. Welcome everyone. I'm going to sort of be helping teach the science piece of this. So sometimes I do teach the drawing. And Gosh, I think we'll just kind of jump into it. I mean, I first have a question for all of you out there. I am wondering if someone could give me a good definition of an amphibian, because we're talking vernal pools here, and without vernal pools, we wouldn't have amphibians. So if anyone wants to raise their hand and volunteer a definition, how do I see all the hands here? I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. Okay. Anybody got their hand up? Okay, Miss Gail. What's an amphibian?
From our book, our definition is amphibian, a cold-blooded vertebrate animal that is born to the water in a gill-breathing larval stage and grows into a land-living, lung-breathing adult stage. Frogs, toads, salamanders, newts, and worm-like caecilians are members of the amphibian class, and I don't think I pronounced that one word
I
correctly.
think that was close enough.
Caecilians.
Good job. Okay. So when we work with the kids, we usually teach this in 7-week sessions and 6 or 7 week sessions, and the kids get a kit that gets sent to their house. And here I've got the vernal pool book. I just want to show you this real quick. So all the kids get their own little activity book. They will get package that has a colored pencil and eraser, a ruler, the fantastic Empowerment Factory ruler that they all get, and then the caps to use for their drawings. So they get that. And then the books, just to show you real quick, they are bilingual. So when we're working with this, say we've got the spotted salamander here, we've got a page all about the animal here, and then on the other side, we've got it in Spanish. And then we go through, we've got the drawing instructions as well, both in English and Spanish. And then we have a page where we talk about taking action to save the spotted salamanders. As Gail mentioned, we're working with species of greatest conservation need. And here I am back, greatest conservation need. And so we want to learn what kinds of things we can do to help these animals. Right. And also how our artwork, we can use our artwork to share their stories, to share the challenges that they face. And through our artwork, we can educate other people. So that's all part of that. Gail, do you want to before we get into the drawing, you want to lead us in a mindful moment? Because we always start with a mindful moment.
Yeah, so thank you, Wendy. I would love to. So for our mindful moments, we do mindful moments in all of our programs because blending social emotional learning with creativity, literacy, environmental education is the core of what the Empowerment Factory does. So I'd like you to take a moment and we're going to sit up tall so that we can get lots of air into our lungs. And we're going to breathe in through our nose and then out. And then again, we're going to breathe in through our nose and then breathe out. We're going to breathe in joy and hope and love, and then breathe all our worries away. Exhale, get rid of all of that. And then I want you to roll your shoulders a little bit and stretch your arms up so your body stretching, waking your body up, and then just wiggle a little bit. And when we're with the children, the wiggle, 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 wiggle part can sometimes be a super fun, happy way to engage everyone in our nature drawing club. Then when we are in the class, we have some rules. You're all wonderful people, so I know that you will abide by these. And then that's mute your microphone, use kind words with yourself and others, be respectful to each other and those in your home, be responsible and clean up your materials when you're finished drawing. One person talks at a time, follow directions, have fun, and keep your brains open for learning. So with that, I will pass this over to Joanne, who will be taking you through the steps of drawing our spotted salamander.
All right, hi everyone. So before we start, we're going to make sure our sketchbook is in portrait mode or vertical, and the caps we'll be using today are the 1-inch cap and then a 1.5-inch cap. I don't have the caps from the kit, but you can also use any household item. But just make sure they're 1.5-inch and then 1 inch. And then you need a pencil, eraser, okay, and this is the first animal in the book, the spotted salamander. Okay, and for our first step, we're going to take the larger circle, the 1.5-inch, and place it on the top right of the page. Okay. And we're going to trace a circle. And make sure you're using a light artist hand because we're going to be erasing those guide circles later on. Okay, so after that first circle is drawn, we're going to mark a small X on the left, a little towards the bottom. And we're going to line up that circle again, slightly diagonal. Okay, and trace another circle. Okay, and we're going to repeat the same step with that little X mark to help us with the diagonal direction. And once again, we're going to draw our third circle.
If anybody has any questions, put them in the chat box. Or if we're moving too fast, let us know.
Okay, and for the next step, we're going to mark an X on the bottom and also on the left side here. We're going to take our circle guide and match them up with those two X marks. So the circle should be overlapping slightly. Like that. All right, next we're going to draw another small X mark on the bottom here and on the right side this time. And we're going to match up those marks as well so that the circles slightly overlap. If I could also get a thumbs up when everyone's ready to move on, that'd be great. All right. All right, next we're going to switch over to our smaller bottle cap, the 1-inch circle. Okay. And before that, I'm just going to make a mark on the right-hand side, lower right. So that will help me place that circle. Okay, I'm going to line that up so that it would be diagonal down to the right. Okay, I'm going to repeat that step with the mark on the lower right and taking the same bottle cap, the 1-inch one, and aligning it. Okay, and once you're done with that step, you are done with all the circles. Now we can start outlining the body. So we're going to connect the head to the rest of the body with 2 inward curves to define the head. Okay, one right there and one on the bottom. Okay, and we're also going to connect the tops of the circles all the way around. Okay, we're going to keep the line curved so it's smooth.
Miss Gail has just put another riddle in the chat box. What type of shoes do amphibians wear? What type of shoes do amphibians wear? And Rachel Cherry has said not Crocs, and nope, they're not Crocs, but that's a fun guess. Anybody else have a guess? We'll leave it there in the chat box for a little bit. Jelly shoes. That's a good answer too. I like that answer. Anybody else have some thoughts? Jelly shoes. It reminds me of pull it up on my screen. Salamander eggs. I've got this here. I'll show it on my screen. This is an Nature Conservancy issue from Nature Conservancy, and this particular issue is dated from summer 2021. Beneath the surface, and it's the hidden world of vernal pools. And on the cover, it shows these salamander eggs, and the eggs are surrounded by jelly, protective jelly. And we're talking about vernal pools, and this book is all about vernal pool animals. And if anybody knows what a vernal pool is, does anybody want to try and explain what a vernal pool is? Anybody know? Okay. Oops, wait, I think, yes, okay, I saw a hand up. Yes, Dana.
I got way too excited. I did a paper on vernal pools when I was in graduate school. So yeah, so a vernal pool, vernal means springtime, and so it is a pool that fills up in the springtime when usually when like the snow or water from like snowy mountains melts, and so it's a seasonal pool, and they have really unique specific species that can only survive there, so it's a perfect breeding ground for things like salamanders and frogs because there's no fish that can live in there and prey on them. And yeah, and they usually develop in in wetlands in the forest.
Yes, you got it. That's right.
You're
Again,
getting
I
an
get so
A.
excited about vernal pools.
Yeah.
They're so cool. And
I
it's
get
like
excited about them too.
Yeah,
well, because like if you've ever
absolutely.
seen a kit for if you've ever seen it, hi everyone, by the way, if you've ever seen a kit for the frig are they called? The swimmy things, the crystals, the tiny shrimp.
Fairy shrimp.
Yeah, yeah. Sea guppies, whatever they're called. I can't think of them. Sea monkeys. Sea
Sea
monkeys. Sea
monkeys.
monkeys.
There you go. Yeah.
What is wrong with my brain? Sea monkeys. That's like specifically what a sea monkey is for. They crystallize in the winter time and just like hibernate. And then once they hit water, they are able to revive themselves. And like that's like a very vernal pool niche kind of adaptation.
Yes, it is. Thank you for the
Sorry.
sharing that. That's awesome.
I'm gonna stop geeking out now.
That's great. Ah, we love geeking out. Okay, back to Joanne.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and draw in the tail. And we're going to draw two curved lines that go to the left and connect to make a small point. So let's do the first line. We want to curve the end a little. And then on the right side, like this. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, let's move on to the head. Right on top of that first circle we drew, we're going to extend it by drawing a curve that goes outward. Okay, and in that curve, we're going to draw two tiny nostrils, and those are just really tiny ovals. After you're done with the nostrils, we're going to go ahead and draw two ovals on either side of the head for the eyes. So one on top and then one on the bottom. Okay, they're both going to have a set of eyelids. So draw a curve for the eyelid.
The Latin name for the spotted salamander is Ambystoma maculatum. And I just typed that in the chat box so you had that. And ambystoma means blunt mouth and maculatum means spotted. And I see that, Abby, thank you for sharing that the spotted salamander is the state amphibian of South Carolina. That's pretty awesome. So we have spotted salamander up here in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, but spotted salamander goes all up and down the East Coast. They've got it right down there in South Carolina. I think it's a state or it's the state amphibian, I think, for several states, but that's pretty cool. So thank you.
All right, to finish the eyes, we're going to draw two ovals inside as well, and I'm just going to fill them in right now.
What type of shoes do amphibians wear? Ms. Gale put the answer in there, open-toed sandals. I like that joke. Kids think that's usually pretty funny.
All right, let's move on to the legs. Okay, so first we're going to draw two sets of lines that bend forward on either side of this second circle. So let's do the top one. We're going to draw a line that goes up and to the right. Okay, so straight up with a little bend. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom, but the opposite way this time. So down and to the right. Okay, and on each one, we're going to draw 4 small toes to create the front feet. Okay, and on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and for the bottom set, we're going to start on the 5th circle, to the left of the 5th circle. And we're going to draw 2 sets of lines again that go left and down. Okay, and on the right, it's going to go right and down. Right, and again, they're going to have, the bottom feet have 5 toes instead of 4, so we're going to add an extra one there. Okay, and again, 5 toes. All right, thumbs up when you're done with the body. All right, great. All right, next we're going to start on the pattern. Before that, we're going to draw a center line throughout the body, where we're going to go in between all the circles and follow that shape. And this line will help us draw in the spotted pattern. All right, once you have that center line, we're going to start adding the spot. So on either side, we're going to add a spot. Okay, so whatever you do to the left side, you're going to do to the right as well. And we'll just do that along the whole body.
So we won't have time to do the coloring today, but with the kids, we do give the kids colored pencils so that they can color their animals at the end. And this particular animal has bright yellow spots, and then it's black, so it's a spotted salamander. And those bright yellow spots are a warning to other animals that because its body, its skin secretes a substance that's poisonous to other animals. So that helps protect it from predators. They see those yellow spots and it's kind of like, ooh, I don't think I want to eat that. So what else is really interesting about the salamander skin and real amphibian skin in general is it's very absorbent. Things can travel through there. It's a moist skin and substances can travel through it very, very easily. So even things like pesticides and some of the toxins in our environment are able to be absorbed by amphibians. So they give us, I know that's a really important thing to know because that's one of the greatest challenges for amphibians is toxicity or toxins in the vernal pool environment that might come seeping out of groundwater or spray that drifts from pesticide spraying, that kind of thing. So Joanne, what else we got here? Racing?
Yeah, but in this case, since the whole body will be colored in a dark color, you wouldn't have to erase. But if you wanted to erase the guidelines, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but after you've added the spots to the limbs as well, then we're done with the drawing step.
Yeah. Now, as we do the drawing, actually, it can take us, what, Joanne, a whole hour really to walk the kids through this process, or most of the hour, because
Yeah.
it takes them a long time. Some kids get, I don't know, they're not as quick. You know, some are just learning how to use the tools, and it takes them a while to really get the hang of it, or they have to stop and erase or stop and ask questions. So it can take a while, and it can take a lot of patience. We sometimes have a backup artist because if there's kids that come in later, kids that are having a little more trouble, we've got an artist that could take them into a breakout room and help them with that. Anything else you want to mention about the drawing aspects, Joanne?
Let's see. Some of the other drawings have more complicated steps, and a lot more at that. I remember the tortoise or the turtle had a lot of like, the shell was very difficult for some kids to do. So it might be helpful if like the artist could explain simpler steps, like simplify the steps. Like I remember explaining to one of the kids how to draw an oval, and I did that by saying you can start with a rectangle first, and then just cut the corner to make your oval. So I think explaining things like that would be helpful to the kids.
Yeah, so that we have all kinds of, tips and things as we go along with these different classes. And so while we're waiting for kids to catch up, we do a lot of chatting. And we talk a lot about the animal, about its feeding habits, breeding habits, predators. And this is all material that we have right in our in the kids' activity guides. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the spotted salamander. But first, I want to ask the question, does anybody have any idea, probably Dana does, what do spotted salamanders eat for food? Can anybody guess what they might eat for food? Adriana, is your hand up?
Is it insect larvae? Like mosquito larvae?
Yeah, definitely. But there's a lot more.
So,
yeah, Gail?
so the adults use their sticky tongues to catch invertebrates, and they will eat worms, spiders, snails, slugs, millipedes, centipedes, insects, and even smaller salamanders.
Yeah, right. So we've got that. And then we've got the actual salamander larvae that live in the water. Okay. And they're going to eat anything they can catch in the water, which might be tadpoles, insects, and salamander larvae. So depending on where they are in their life cycle and how big they are, that will certainly determine their diet. Can anybody guess what a predator might be of salamanders? We know what they eat. What would eat them? Now, again, they've got a poison that they secrete from their skin, but there are animals that will try to eat them.
I would assume that frogs are gonna eat them actually. Bigger amphibians, big
Yes,
frogs and birds.
yes, definitely. The larvae in particular, aquatic insects, turtles, birds, snakes, and other salamanders. And more than 90% of offspring will die before they can leave the pond due to predation, or to disease, or to the pond drying up before they mature to that point. Because as Dana was telling us earlier, vernal pools, they fill up in the winter and springtime, but then they dry up in the middle of the summer. So they've got to complete their life cycle and go from their gill breathing stage to their lung breathing stage and get out of that pool before the pond dries up. But when threatened, adult spotted salamanders secrete a mild sticky toxin from their backs and tails, and that will keep predators away. So yeah.
So Wendy, I put in the chat that
Yes.
in every class that we have a couple vocabulary words. And so for the spotted salamander, our words are amphibian and also fragmentation. Does anyone know the definition or why the fragmentation is important to animals who need the vernal pool for their habitat?
Any hands up?
Do you want to share the answer with them, Wendy?
Or Dana, do you know the answer?
Why fragmentation is important?
Or what is fragmentation? It's a vocabulary word we introduce to the kids, and why.
Well, fragmentation is splitting apart into fragments, into pieces, splitting something
Right.
apart into pieces. So I would
Right.
think that fragmentation of offspring is key. So you distribute your offspring in different places so that they have a higher chance of survival. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
a really good guess. But actually fragmentation is referring to the habitat. Okay. So if you think about a forest, which is where you find generally find woods where you find the vernal pools, and salamanders are they're going to hibernate in the wintertime, like under logs and that kind of thing. And then in this spring, they're going to come out of their hibernation places and they're going to be looking for their vernal pool. So they're going to be traveling around a little bit. And when forests start to get cut up with roads and development, that
Yes.
disrupts the habitat. So that's what fragmentation is, when you have big woods and then suddenly it gets cut up into smaller pieces, right?
Yeah, Michelle
Gail,
put
yeah,
Michelle
Gail,
put that
go
put that
ahead.
in the Michelle put
Oh.
loss of habitat, wild areas get smaller
Oh.
because of construction. That's
Okay.
exactly correct. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Development and the destruction of the ability to migrate because and in fact the salamanders tend to they say that there's a certain period of time that they really are on the move. And that's been noted, and there's been books written about it. And there's a children's book called The Big Night. And I'm putting the link into the chat. This is a book specifically about that adventure because people, when that night comes, there are people who are activists who will go out to places where they know there's vernal pool areas that and help the animals, help the salamanders cross the road. And there's a really cute children's book specifically about that.
Yeah, and I also might
Big
mention
Night
that
for
what? Oh,
Big Night for Salamanders is the name of it.
that's awesome. And then also there's some great videos online. I know Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management has a YouTube channel, and they have a couple videos where they take you out into a vernal pool, and they have the camera, and it's like you're going on an adventure with them. Mary Gannon and Gabby do that. And it's a fantastic, it's a really fun video to watch. I'll try and find the link for that in a couple minutes, but so I just mentioned that. So we do talk about the environmental challenges that this animal faces, what its story is, and what are the things we can do. So we've talked about land development, housing, roads, the fragmentation. There's Gail's holding up the page now. Vernal ponds are not suitably regulated and protected. Many ponds get filled or deepened or stocked with predatory fish. So there's all of those things. And then down below, we say, what can you do to help? We talk to the kids a little about that, about when they do go into the woods and they spy a vernal pool, to make sure that they just kind of look and don't disturb that pool habitat. You'll kind of leave it as it is. Do your observing, but try not to disrupt the surrounding forest when you go exploring. And even when you watch I think the video with Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, when they go exploring a vernal pool, they will actually, when they leave, the boots that they've been wearing while they're going around in that damp environment, they will take them home and they will clean them off really, really well. They'll clean their boots really well. So next time they go out, they don't carry any kind of disease or contamination into other places. And when I watched the video, I found that really interesting. I never really thought about that, but that's another way of being responsible for the habitat and helping protect that habitat.
Hey, Wendy, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this with the kids, this program online, is it like just like Joanne's doing right now? Like she's coloring in and you're talking, and some kids are just listening and some kids are answering and whatever.
Yes.
Like, is that, I love that combo of
and they're typing in the chat box, a lot of typing in the chat box.
Yeah.
And then we also talk about the habitat and the background. So once they've drawn their animal, okay, what is the habitat that they live in? So we do talk about that. So what does a vernal pool look like? If you were going to draw a vernal pool, or if you're going to draw the forest floor where the salamander, lives in the, lives once it gets out of the vernal pool, once it grows its lungs and its legs, what would that look like? So the kids create their own, we're showing them how to draw the animal itself. They make it their own drawing, and by whatever background they put in, or they'll put little speech bubbles. The animal will be saying something and then fill in a speech bubble. And what other kinds of things, Gail?
Yeah.
Do?
It's really adorable. So the fast finishers, the ones who get done more quickly with their coloring, will put in a background around the animal. And I love how you'll have a group of between 15 and 18 children drawing, and every single one of them is different. And some of them, we've had rainbow colored salamanders, and putting a little construction hat on him, or whatever. And one other thing that I want to mention, because the book is 65 pages, and in the very beginning, it goes over some different artist terms, like, a hard line and a soft line. Like Joanne was saying, use your artist hand, which is like to do a soft line, because when you're doing the template, you're going to be erasing some of the circles. So hard line, soft line, shading, smudging. Pointillism, using the little dots and then showing the different templates. And then over here, it's about color blending and about shading and proportions. So those are the first 2 pages in the book that they can refer back to, because for some, this may be the first art class that they've ever taken. And what I love is that we get information back from the families about how, one child was very dyslexic, and she also had what's it called, dysgraphia. So her eye-hand coordination was very challenged, and this drawing class really helped build her confidence and led to her doing much better in all of her studies because her confidence really grew in this safe space of, they're at home because it's always online. And it's more than just making them aware about animals, but it's also self-expression and a community that, the class gets to be like a club. Um, you get a sketchbook that is just like you're going to RISD, and really high quality um, eraser and sharpener and colored pencils and a regular pencil and all your templates, and all of that is part of the creativity kit. And that gets hand delivered to each child's home by a volunteer.
Mhm.
So it's really a lovely way to bring people together. And if we want peace and harmony in the world, I think the best way is for kids to make friends. And when you have kids from all over Rhode Island who are meeting and sharing and learning together, it's a lot of fun, and it builds a community where they belong and they feel seen and heard and respected. And it's a lovely community.
Yeah. Was showing on my screen a coloring page that we include in the book, and it just sort of shows a vernal pool and some animals and a couple facts. In Rhode Island, 23 species of dragonflies and 11 species of amphibians breed in vernal pools. So also dragonflies, because they don't have the fish aren't, fish as predators for their larval stage. They need vernal pools as well. So we do, in this particular class, we show the kids how to draw a dragonfly nymph, which it almost looks like something from outer space. It's very alien looking. And then in some of the ponds and rivers book, the kids learn how to actually draw a dragonfly. So they learn how to draw a couple different stages of animals. But here on this particular page, we're sort of showing the larval stages of these animals, and then the adult stages. And the animal that we do after salamander is the wood frog. So the kids will learn two amphibians in this particular class. And then beyond that, our other animals for this class are here, spotted turtle, dragonfly, and damselfly larva, American water shrew. So we got a mammal in there. King rail is a bird, and then the springtime fairy shrimp, which is a crustacean. So we try to get animals from different families in each of the units that we present. And then the kids also learn, which animals eat which animals. And then within the vernal pool, I think you've got the fairy shrimp who actually eat the detritus in the vernal pool, the dead plant matter.
Thank you.
So yeah. So I don't know, we want to open up for questions now?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'll facilitate that just so you know because I'm seeing people pop up. So Adriana had her hand up, and then after that, we'll take a question in the chat from Michelle. So Adriana, you're up.
Hi, Empowerment Factory. Y'all are cool. I think
Thank you
it's
very
really,
much.
You're welcome. I love the frog. You have such good energy. We have the same energy. I love it. Since I love that your stuff is bilingual, and when you have kids in the class, you said you're bilingual educators calling families, but do you teach bilingually as well? Or is that bilingual person solely to chat with families?
The bilingual room monitor can also help facilitate questions.
Okay.
And some of our artists and some of our educators are bilingual as well. But predominantly, the class is taught in English. Not that it could not be taught in Spanish. It absolutely could. But addressing multi-language learners is one of the focuses for the Empowerment Factory, and empowering children who wouldn't normally have access to these kind of programs. So I think that we're always looking to grow And when we say bilingual, we mean Spanish, even though, you know, there's a lot of Portuguese speaking people in Northern Rhode Island. So I think that's, you know, one thing that we stress, and we really, when we're looking for teachers and artists, being bilingual is very, so that you can talk to the children in their native language, I think is important. And it's something that we look to, it's a focus that we want to grow and a lens that we have a need.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
then we have Michelle. First of all, Michelle, woo woo, Bronx. My parents are from the Bronx, and I worked at the Bronx Zoo. She works at a preschool farm in the Bronx, which is awesome. And asks if you have more resources, or do you have resources for more urban wildlife? Oh, Wendy, you're muted.
Yeah. We, you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting question because I know there are vernal pools in the city of Providence, right? So there, you know, there could be vernal pools in a city. And then certainly ponds and rivers. I know we've got rivers that go through the city of Providence. So I mean, in that way, yes, but haven't really done. I mean, that's a really good idea to do something that focuses on urban wildlife. I know I've got a book downstairs. It's a focus. It's just a nature guide, or a nature guide that's highlights those animals. But it's a really good idea.
Because what are you have the vernal pools, and then don't you have other
Ponds and rivers?
Ponds and rivers.
And then the other is salt marsh.
Salt
So
marsh
unless,
and open ocean.
And open ocean. But what's really interesting is that Providence used to be a salt marsh, and then it got filled in. And a lot of our cities are built on top of salt marshes all along the East Coast.
Yeah.
But now the salt marshes are no longer there. And that's an interesting, I think, lesson for urban kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we do talk about that in the salt marsh book.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're delightful. And you're delightful too, Wendy. And you too, Joanne, because I'm just looking at that and I'm like, the first time I've ever drawn anything that looks kind of like the person teaching me.
Thank you.
So can we see your drawing, Janine? Did you do it?
Yeah.
If everyone,
we would love it if everyone could hold up their drawing. We wanted to take a picture.
Ooh. I want to get a screenshot
with our kids at the end of class is we have them all hold up their drawings in front of their faces, because we're not allowed to share their faces. So it's really funny because it's like, okay, hold up your picture. I don't want to see your eyes. I don't want to see your smile, because we want to share this publicly, their drawings. And you've always got the kids that are like, you know, they can't help themselves. It's too much. It's very funny. But Janine, I don't know. I'm not sure now how I can get everybody on I'd take the picture if I could open this up and do oh, wait, here, let me try it this way. Gallery, that's what I need. Okay, I got it.
Can the other participants, if you did do the drawing, could you put your video on so we can take the picture as a group? And if you don't want to, that's okay too.
That's okay, but here's my drawing from, I don't know if you can.
Mine has notes on it, sorry.
I have to get the lighting right on mine. Oh, there we go, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you have to get a little closer, Wendy.
I did mine in pen, so it looks a little wonky, and I was gonna finish it in ink, like dark ink.
I know, mine
because of your filter.
Can't see anything. I can change. I can. You guys, you all don't have to. You don't have to hide your faces. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. So what I'm gonna have to put mine down. Actually, I know. Here's what I'm gonna do. All right, bear with me a second. Mine still looks kind of lumpy. But now you can see my awesome Christmas sweater, which is a dinosaur.
Oh my God, I love it.
I need my hands. I need my hands free to take the picture. So there we go. Okay, and now I need to reach around and do the print screen thing. Okay. Got it. Okay. We will share that. I'm going to take, wait. Anna, yours was going, well, in and out of focus. Jen, can you hold yours up one more time? Because,
Such
okay,
patient
Dana, yours was
people.
going in and out of focus for some reason. Okay, everybody hold very still. I'm going to do this one more time. Print screen. Okay. And then we will share the print screen on the Facebook, on the Empowerment Factory Facebook page.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook.
Let me just make sure I
We have
captured
a
that.
newsletter. And, you know, we would love to, I mean, one of the things that is a challenge for the Empowerment Factory is that all our programs are free to the children that we serve. And so grants and sponsorships, if anyone has any hints or thoughts, and we would love to bring it to Newport. We would love to bring it to Woonsocket, but that would mean finding the funding to do that. So if anybody has any thoughts on that, that would be lovely. And, you know, as an organization, we've been thinking, well, how can we expand nature drawing and possibly monetize it to help be a revenue stream? And just, you know, trying to think of different ways that we can help fund the organization. Because, I mean, the development of the books takes a lot of energy and time and effort. But I think that, you know, through wonderful people, you know, and Wendy has been a guiding light from the beginning of our nature drawing class and is one of the environmental education team members here at the Empowerment Factory. And so, you know, we have other programs like Art in the Park that happens in parks around Rhode Island and in schools during the winter and fall. You know, we've got Reading Adventures, which is in school programs, Trash to Treasures, teaching them
Gail,
how to make art from recycled materials.
hey, Gail, I have a question about these guys, and I know we're coming right up on 1 o'clock. So, for for the guides that you use, obviously the Empowerment Factory is guiding the learning.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if you've considered, and you don't have to do this right on recorded Zoom right now, but putting together kits where like a teacher in, let's just say the Bronx, not to put you on the spot, Michelle,
Mhm.
but like, you know, wants to do this with her classes or their classes. And so they purchase the kit with a certain number of these books and all the supplies, but then
Mhm.
also there's some kind of educator guide. And
Yeah,
then you're there to
yeah,
serve as a
yeah,
support. I don't know.
yeah. It's definitely something that we are exploring, and
Yeah,
we are looking for thought partners to help us figure out how we can do that.
cool.
Because the books there, each book is about 65 pages long because for each, it tells you how to draw the animal, it tells you about the animal, and then it tells you how you can make a difference in the world
Hmm.
to help that animal
And it's
um,
English and Spanish.
in English and in Spanish.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think that, yeah, Michelle, it's relevant for you, but it's relevant for being bilingual. I think it's really supporting the children we want to serve, you know, and
And even
I
for
think,
students that are, you know, native English speakers, let's say,
mhm,
having that exposure to another language is
mhm,
educational in and of itself. There's something really
mhm,
beautiful and wonderful about learning other languages that's just, you
Yeah.
know, not just,
yeah,
it's not just fun, right? It
yeah,
develops your vocabulary. It's great for everyone. So
yeah,
I love that
absolutely.
part of it.
Yeah, I just like to
Yeah.
mention that we do have a teacher's manual for each of the classes that is
Mhm,
it's not printed, but it's a PDF. So we do have a
mhm,
manual for teachers, which has
Cool.
extra information and then we also have a PowerPoint presentation so that when we're
mhm,
training our teams that teach this class, that's also a wonderful tool. But it's a wonderful PowerPoint that our one of our RISD students, Julia, put together, and we use that for training. And it's not just, you know, how to teach a class, but all really
yeah.
it's very comprehensive
And
in how to present it to a class.
And we also have had volunteers from all over the world come and help teach the class. We've had people in California and in China, and
Oh, wow.
because if you in London, we've had teachers say, I can join a Zoom class, and the Empowerment Factory uses a lot of interns and volunteers to make us go forward. And we are a community of people coming together to make a difference. And
Yeah.
we welcome you into our world in any way that you see fit to partner with us, would be delightful. And we also have our Healthy Living community event every September in Slater Park, and that we have a lot of our team members and other organizations join us for that big event that is free to the families. And RIA has been just an amazing organization. And as they bring us all here together today, you are wonderful. You are really, really great. Yay!
I love it,
it's
Gail. Thank you all so much, Wendy, Gail, Joanne. This was lovely and wonderful. If anyone has any lingering questions, I'm happy to stay on. I will just say two things for those of you who have to hop off. I'm going to send in an email, I'll send you a link to the Empowerment Factory, of course, the link to that book that Gail mentioned. Thank you, Gail, for the information. I'll send that in the email as well. I'll also send you a link to this really quick survey that we give at the end of all of our virtual lunch and learns that you're welcome to, or that I ask you, you're invited to fill this out. It's anonymous and it gives us lots of good feedback that we use to make this series even better. And for those of you who are new to RIA, you can let me know if you want to be, added to our mailing list or not in that email. And then, if there are any other questions from folks, I didn't want to cut off, but I knew people were starting to hop off. So I was like, wait, let me just say this.
Yeah. I just put my email in the chat box too. So if anybody has any questions for me.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I just wanted to say, if anybody is looking for free solar education, NEC does workshops, and it might be kind of fun to do like, I don't know, like draw a solar panel or like draw your ideal solar home sort of a situation. I don't know. I mean, that could be fun.
Idea.
Renewable energy book, a wind turbine, a solar panel.
Yeah.
Geothermal well. This is a hole. I'm just kidding.
You could draw an oil rig and then put like an X through it.
Exactly.
Or like a water wheel.
You just need a red. You just need red.
It'd be kind of cool. I mean,
efficient dream house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like draw your ideal, like draw your fossil fuel free world or something.
Oh.
That would be nice. Well, I also want to thank Joanne, our team member who was the artist today.
Yeah.
So talented and lovely, and she's been great to have on the team. Thank you, Janine, for having us. And Wendy, it's just a joy to have you by my side as we navigate this crazy world. Almost lost my headset. But thank you so much. Thank you all for this opportunity, and let's see how we can make the world a better place.
Definitely. And I don't know if you saw, Joanne, but I put in the chat, like, does anyone else feel really relaxed and like happy?
I saw that.
Listening to you.
Yeah,
and I was
saw
like,
that.
Just like sketching and
yeah.
It is very relaxing. Yeah. You can just get into the zone for sure.
Creativity and community are wonderful healing things.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah.